Stop pushing on me.
Jonathan, hey,
All your supervisors.
Jonathan,
Because my
brother,
head's on my back?
brother,
No.
hey,
Oh, you think you're a big man?
Hey.
You think you're somebody?
Sit
down. Man, you ain't.
It's only been 30 seconds, and already this officer's traffic stop is spiraling out of control. The driver of this vehicle and his family were just trying to enjoy a day at the park, and he'd returned to the vehicle to grab his newborn daughter's diaper bag. That didn't sit right with this San Antonio police officer, who claimed he could smell weed coming from the driver's car, even though at the time the officer drove up, his squad car's windows were closed, and the driver hadn't even opened the door yet, and things get worse from there.
You're not listening, though. You're not listening. Okay. I asked for your supervisor. Put your it's the law for you to call your supervisor when I request. Okay, call him and we'll ask him. Put your leg in. We'll ask him. Put your leg in.
Now, the driver is right. At this point, he has asked 19 times for the officer on the scene to call his supervisor, and that officer is required to do that.
Can I help you contain?
17 times. I'll keep counting. Supervisor, 18. Supervisor, 19.
But instead of following protocol, the officer gets tired of talking to our driver and shuts the door in his face. And things get even weirder, as the officer now says he'll conduct a search of the driver's vehicle, and tells the driver's family they aren't allowed to see the car while officers conduct their search. That's another casual violation of the law.
Okay, well, I need all these family members to go back over there to the house. Okay, because that's your party, right?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Okay.
I'm out of
Step over there.
the city property or county property right here.
That officer really doesn't want people watching what he's doing, but the family smartly refuses to comply because they know that this officer is making up the law as he goes along.
Please know that we are recording and we are going to report this to your person.
I'm recording
We
too.
understand that, but I'm letting you know now you are doing wrong.
What are you doing in the car?
You cannot search the car. He can't search the car. It's not allowed. If they didn't pull him over.
Okay, that's in the court of law. That's
I
not
know,
here.
but they're...
And as this family is well aware, they're putting themselves in danger. You may have noticed there's still no supervisor on the scene, and this officer has already begun his search even though his backup isn't observing him. That's another protocol designed to protect suspects from planted evidence, and yet another protocol broken in just the span of a few minutes.
Does anybody smoke in that car? Okay. It didn't smell that strong, but it smells. But it was out here somewhere.
There's a lot of houses out here,
Put
sir.
people right here.
But you're driving by.
They were on the street, they were back here.
I know that you know you're not allowed to stop unless they're pulling over and to look into their car.
If it's coming from the car or it's coming from out here. Okay? As soon as you ever left, and I was able to get away from the car, it's still
At this point, two things are clear. This officer has finished his search and he didn't find anything. But he's not done harassing this family yet. The officer repeatedly asks them if anyone smokes weed and insists that he knows there's drugs somewhere nearby.
Does anybody smoke in that car?
Except there isn't, and he knows that. This is a routine harassment tactic used by police officers to try and get regular people to unintentionally incriminate themselves. And this is as good a time as any to remind anyone watching that you have a right to remain silent. You should use it.
Well, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah.
You know, they've never come like this. You know, we've had gun problems or other things.
You know how many times I call for shootings and no one ever comes?
But for one person getting the diaper bag.
Like, there's so many people that shoot over here all the time. No one ever comes. They just come and drive by. Nothing.
At this point, there are now 6 officers on the scene, all responding to one officer's suspicion that he smelled weed. A suspicion, remember, that he's just shown he was wrong about after a thorough search of the family's vehicle. Yet the driver is still handcuffed in the back seat of this officer's car, and suddenly officers are real casual about wrapping up their stop. That driver was eventually released without an apology, but that doesn't begin to explain the number of violations the San Antonio police just committed in under 15 minutes. Not only did they conduct an unauthorized search, that officer's supervisor didn't show up until the entire investigation was over.
I need everybody to move back. I got a whole bunch of officers coming over here now. And they're going to see all this crowd. Okay. Okay, but y'all are acting irrational.
It's become sadly commonplace for police to bend the rules and even outright break the law, especially to harass minorities. Even a family enjoying a get-together on their day off is no exception. The family involved now says they're filing a complaint with the San Antonio PD. We'll keep you updated as that story develops. This family made the absolute right choice